On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
In the house, I don't ask, I don't say anything. She already be coming to get my water, my tea together. And it's just like, oh my God, this girl is just like her mother. And I love her, right? I love on her. I show her what it's like to not have her feet hit the ground, so on and so forth. So it is, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm conflicted about this question simply because I know that it's going to largely depend on the man that comes into her life. And that's the part that bothers me the most. And I know the reason why it's so bothersome for me to even answer this way is because I know that I emphasize and I always say that it's important for us to focus on what it is that we're talking about. If we're talking about women, then we keep it to women. But I just find it hard to even be able to have the conversation because if she's not subjected to the right type of guy, I don't know, man. I don't know how I can handle that.
All right. Island Girl Q. Are we raising our daughters to be wives? Let's talk.
I agree with Rilla. In today's society, I don't see it a lot. I see a lot of young people that are not even mature enough having kids. So I'm in the schools and I'm seeing these kids are not being brought up upon right with manners and stuff like that. So I'm also looking at the women and how they uphold themselves morally in a certain standard in this generation. And I don't think it's being done. And I feel like the older we get, the older this generation gets, it's going to be more horrible, I feel, unless there's a big change. Um, and I think it's a different outlook for me because where I was raised and how I was raised from both of my parents, and it is done within the father and the mother. That's how I came about. I feel like for my mother, she gave me the nurturing side, the cooking, the cleaning, how to cater to your man. But on my father's side, he gave me more the modern aspect. Make sure you're independent. Make sure you have your own shit. Make sure you don't have to rely on a man on certain stuff. And my mother, she's more traditional. So that's the thing. I don't know if it's because that's our culture and just how I was raised, but in today's generation is totally different. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see a lot of women catering to men in certain aspects. And I get that, and I hear that from my exes. Like the shit I do to them, they're like, "Oh, I've never had that done." I'm like, "What? Like, really?" So I do see that people are not preparing to be wives. So I asked friends and stuff. We had discussion on Clubhouse. How do you want to be married and you're not even a wife? Right? How are you looking for a husband and you're not even wife material? Or whatever you're seeking in a partner, you don't even have those same qualities. So I don't see it very often. People are being raised as wives to my standard and my outlook of things. But that's all.
Okay. Anton, are we raising our daughters to be wives?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's probably gonna surprise a lot of people. But I kind of feel some type of way about this because I think it's different when you have a daughter. And this is going to be difficult for me simply because I can't have this conversation honestly in truth without truly addressing the other side, because I don't care how great a woman is. If a man is going to ruin her, he is going to ruin her. I mean, absolutely ruin her. It all starts at the head. So let me say this. Let me put it like this. Let me break it down. The way that I raise my daughter to be the wife, to be the woman that she is to be, is by being the man that I would want her to marry. It all starts with me. And I don't care what you tell kids. I don't care how it is that you make them make plates and all of this other type of stuff. I think ultimately it comes down to your actions. And the actions is what she sees as an example. It's how I treat her mother. I mean, I treat Rita like gold. Her feet will never, ever, ever touch the ground. There is nothing and no one that can ever come before her. So I think that part of the teaching is identifying and helping to show her what a network looks like. what a good man looks like. Honestly, listen, if we just want to be transparent, if we want to get down to the nitty gritty, I've been grooming a group of men to be her husband for a long time. I mean, I'm that deathly afraid of what the piss is out here and how these dudes are raising their sons. I don't want her to have to subject herself to the worst part of us, to the worst parts of us, and then tell her to have to be submissive to an asshole. I'm not doing that, bro. I'm never going to do that. So for me, the first step in that is to be the example of the thing that I would want her to marry. I have to be that. The second thing is I have to show her how a man is supposed to treat you. That's the second thing. The third thing for me is I think that Rita is inherently a perfect reflection of what a wife is supposed to look like, especially when she falls under the right covering. And so I largely leave the femininity things to her mother. And then fourth and most important for me is I am going to be intimately involved in whomever comes into her life if she so chooses or decides that she don't want to be a part of whomever the group of guys is that I'm actively participating in her life to help figure out exactly which one possibly strongly that she can marry. So I'm just going to be very, very connected. My daughter is already at 13 years old, exactly like her mother. If Rita is not in the house, I don't ask, I don't say anything. She already be coming to get my water, my tea together. And it's just like, oh my God, this girl is just like her mother. And I love her, right? I love on her. I show her what it's like to not have her feet hit the ground, so on and so forth. So it is, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm conflicted about this question simply because I know that it's going to largely depend on the man that comes into her life. And that's the part that bothers me the most. And I know the reason why it's so bothersome for me to even answer this way is because I know that I emphasize and I always say that it's important for us to focus on what it is that we're talking about. If we're talking about women, and we keep it to women. But I just find it hard to even be able to have the conversation because if she's not subjected to the right type of guy, I don't know, man. I don't know how I can handle that.
Gotcha. Kayla, are we raising our daughters to be wives? You're on mute, just so you know, baby girl.
My bad. Sorry, I was muted. So when I think about this, when it comes to raising children, a good deal of it is leading by example.